Hello, and thank you for choosing to watch this recording. My name is Matt Garish, and I'm a Customer Solutions Engineer at Unit21. Today, we'll be discussing how to navigate same-day ACH transactions in the Unit21 platform. A quick look at our agenda. What we'll cover is a brief introduction of Unit21, the problem the market is facing today and the associated ramifications, what we offer to address this problem, a brief highlight of a use case that will ultimately illuminate the functionality, and we will wrap up with a brief live demonstration. So, what is Unit21 and what does Unit21 offer? At the core, Unit21 is a data platform that offers tools and analytics to help organizations detect and prevent fraud, money laundering, and other illicit activities. Unit21 also provides a consortium with over 50 financial institutions and 36 million unique identifiers in the US. From an architecture standpoint, we can ingest anything and everything relevant to your business, from transactional data to lifecycle insights, and marry it with the fraud consortium to then leverage in building typologies within a few minutes for async and real-time monitoring that triggers on users, businesses, digital wallets, bank accounts, and really any other unique identifier. The investigative team can then take action based off of these alerts all the way to automated regulatory filings. Additionally, all this data is accessible and insights can be derived from the outcomes. If we look at 2023 specifically, our customers monitored 4 billion events and 2.77 trillion transactions, detecting an almost $4.5 billion in fraudulent activity. The gains have come in agile fraud detection and overall investigative efficiency. So, what are we looking to solve? Let's start by looking at the numbers. In 2023, the ACH network handled over 31 billion payments valued at over $80 trillion. Additionally, same-day ACH volume increased by 22.3%. And while this growth is impressive from a sheer volume standpoint, fraudsters have followed lock and step, with the ACH fraud growing, particularly through business email compromises and first-party fraud. In fact, ACH is favored by fraudsters due to its quick settlement times. Now, at Unit21, we are seeing the same trends with new rules and typologies targeting the ACH at a higher density than other transaction types. And with NACHA's new guidelines requiring monitoring ACH entries for fraud by 2026, we do expect this trend to continue on an upward trajectory. In fact, real-time or near real-time monitoring will become crucial as the industry moves towards faster payments. So we talked about the problem in front of us. Let's transition to how Unit21 is both addressing artificial intelligence and machine learning, but also how this problem fits into that lens. So Unit21's current approach ranges from predictions like ACH risk scores to alert scores, which predicts the likelihood of an alert becoming a true positive, to Copilot, which is a human-readable format, which explains why the alert score is what it is, ultimately pointing investigators to the most nefarious signals, to the AI agent, which will help assist and fill out the key details, to be able to visualize and understand outcomes with Ask Your Data. As you can tell, our goal is to take an end-to-end approach here. However, let's focus on ACH risk scores for this conversation. And if interested, your customer success manager or a sales representative can assist you with helping your team navigate the other functionality. So what goes into our model? Well, a little bit of everything, from information on users and businesses to their specific transactional behavior to what we are seeing holistically in the market. We have over 1,000 features and new features rolling out every single day. Best of all, this is not a static situation. The model continues to learn with every and all new inputs. So let's go into more specifics on the build. Now, nothing in today's day and age should be a black box. So we show you why the score is what it is. And every return that we see is an input for the model. Now, what I'll show you momentarily is how you can then take this from ideation to creation in the course of 2 to 3 minutes. And best of all, this is all accessible so that your team can leverage risk scores independently. Now, I know I mentioned this a few seconds ago, but our real benefit is speed and the simplicity, which means anyone that can leverage this functionality within just a few clicks. And then lastly, let's chat about what is unique to our ACH risk score model. So first, we do leverage consortium data. We also take a two-pronged approach with a umbrella model and an individual customer model. And finally, as we mentioned, the idea is that we're always showing you what's actually going into the score itself. So one quick story before we move into the live demonstration, with the question being, we can predict ACH returns, but how is this applicable to the real world? Well, let's talk about a common scenario, account takeover. Account takeovers often start with phishing or an email compromise, and then fraudsters leverage these compromised accounts to get maximized return. These outcomes can include fraudulent online purchases and money transfers, to name a few. Again, something very common that we do see within today's market. All right, so now that we've gone through the slides, let's hop into the demonstration and see what we can see in action. So this is the Unit21 platform. This may look familiar for some and new for others. This is where most folks are going to start, which is our alert page. This is the beginning of investigations. However, I'm not going to touch upon this too much. Like I mentioned previously, if you're interested, either a sales representative or your customer success manager can dive into the investigative component at greater length. What I'm first going to do is I'm going to go and navigate to our data explorer. And you can think of this as the collection of all the data within Unit21. And the idea here is to show an ACH transaction and specifically the Unit21 risk score, which, as you can see, here are the top 3 things that contributed to this particular score. Now, navigating back towards the left-hand panel, I'm going to click on detection models. I'm going to click on this logo here. This will collapse the left-hand panel, just give me a little bit more room to focus. And I'm going to quickly scroll down just to chat about a few different things. So there's 3 different states within Unit21. There are your live models. This is live data. It's producing workable alerts, or in the real-time instance, it is sending a response in under 250 milliseconds so that the team can make the appropriate decision. There are your validating models, which are essentially a historical backtest. Now, I know we all want to move quickly, but at the end of the day, it's always good to get an understanding if is your rule working the way you expect. And then there's shadow models, which are an in-between. It's live data, but they're not producing workable alerts. And the idea here is essentially a second layer of validation. So at the top right-hand side, I'm going to select Create New Rule. And you can see I have a few different options. The dynamic model builder is essentially a blank slate. Really, your ideas are the limits here. It really comes down to how do we define the data, and then what about the data actually triggers an alert. We have our standard scenarios, or our standard scenarios that we got started with way back in the day. And these are your more ad-lib, human-readable models, plug and play, change a threshold here, change a value here. But for today, let's talk about real-time rules. And specifically, we're going to select flag transactions to get started. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a title, ACH risk score R10. I'm also going to add some tags. I'm going to do, let's call it a fraud confirmed. That way, if we do produce alerts, we do have a tag, which is associated metadata associated with that particular alert. Then I'm going to hit next. And now I need to define my rule. So let's go down and first select the transaction type we're interested in. And then next, let's define the score that we're passing through. I'm going to pick something quite low, but this will really depend on your particular environment and your data set. So as you can see here, we've now defined the rule. Let's click next. I have my validation window here, which is great. So let's go ahead and now validate and look at our results. So in the next minute or two, we'll have our validation results for ACH risk model. So we'll just give it a quick second here. All right, now we'll see what we have. And as you can see here, we do have transactions that have flagged. So let's go ahead and click on one. And there we go. That transaction with the risk score of 52 was flagged based off the criteria set up in the rule. Now that I feel comfortable with my results, I'm going to go ahead and activate the model. And I also wanted to trigger an alert so I can both get my response back, but I also can have a manual investigation as well, just to be on the safe side. One good use case here is you can potentially pause the transaction and then based off the investigation, either let it go through or permanently block said transaction. All right, activate, and we are good to go. So as you can see here, in the course of a few minutes, we've gone from ideation to creation.
Thank you for joining our demo showcase. There are 11 more Unit 21 demos you can dive into while attending Fraud Fighters Virtual Summit today, so please do so. Alternatively, if you're ready to learn more about Unit 21 from one of our fraud and AML practitioners, you can simply scan the QR code on the left and request a personalized demo. And last but not least, I'm excited to share that we are in the midst of data gathering for our third annual State of Fraud and AML report. We're seeking to make this research the most informative findings yet, but we're unable to uncover and publish these insights without your contribution. Scan the QR code on the right to fill out the survey. It'll take no more than 10 minutes and it'll uncover invaluable industry trends and insights so we can all better combat risk and compliance together. Thanks so much for contributing to our research.